Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we would like to inform that the following presentation has an international flavor. Señoras y señores pasajeros, les informamos de que la siguiente ponencia vuelve a tener sabor internacional y les invitamos a alardear, una vez más, de su alto dominio del inglés. La tripulación de cabina quiere lanzar un saludo especial a los y las estudiantes que nos acompañan hoy en este viaje. Ellos son el talento emergente y futuro de nuestra industria. Esta presentación es para vosotros. Es para la APCP un inmenso placer acoger la Vuelta a España de Young Director Award, el programa internacional que desde 1998 impulsa la carrera de los nuevos talentos de la dirección audiovisual. La 13ª edición de estas jornadas abre una puerta directa entre la comunidad creativa nacional y uno de los escaparates más influyentes del mundo de la mano de François Chilot, presidente y fundador de Young Director Award, que toma el escenario junto con Ingrid Bragemann, embajadora del certamen en España y Latinoamérica.
Ok. Muy buenos días a todos. Como escucharon del capitán o de la azafata, esta conversación va a ser en inglés. Yo me quiero presentar, soy Ingrid Bragemann. Tengo el honor de haber sido nominada por este señor para ser embajadora en Latinoamérica y en España. En realidad soy la productora ejecutiva y fundadora de Tanto Films y una de las socias de Task Content acá en España. Y conozco a este señor hace muchos años y es una de las personas que más me ha inspirado en la vida, y yo creo que I'm going to change to English now. So François, for me, it's a great honor and a pleasure, and it's beautiful to be able to have you on this stage. You are a legend for this industry. You've been building something extraordinary, which is the Young Directors Award. So this is your Spanish audience.
Well, I would start by saying thank you very much, Ingrid, for inviting me. Thank you very much also to you all. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I don't speak a word of your language. That's really bad, I must admit. So I am, in a way, forcing you to understand my English. I hope that it will be fine, and that we all are going to enjoy our talk. So thank you again, and let's start. I mean, in a way, what I would like to show you is the beginning of our usual show in Cannes every year, right? And the best way to do that, I think, is to show you what we call the montage. The montage is clips of the best golden wits, that golden screen of the year before, right? So we're going to see, and what we showed in 25 are clips of the winners of 24. And as you're going to see, even if you were not in Cannes at the time, I'm sure that some of you know some of the films, and you will recognize them through those clips, because it's a wonderful montage done by one great and very talented editor, and also a great music and sound artist. I usually try to find an editor somewhere in one region of the world and a sound artist in another world, so that, even though they don't know each other, they communicate, they are very dedicated, they love YDA, and they do a montage which I think, but you can tell me afterward, whether it's really what you feel was or is and will be YDA in the future. So let's see the film.
Let's see.
And I'm sure that you recognize at least one film, you know, if you weren't there, if you're not too aware of what's going on with YDA. And also, part of this story is that 24 was, like every year, a very good year, but we, in a way, it was an incredible year in the sense that after YDA, one film won a BAFTA, another one won an Oscar, and another one, and that's the one that you probably all know, went around the world. And of course, you would know about it a bit more after us.
So François, I have a question to you. When we see all this material from all these wonderful films, and you're saying this is just for 1 year, is this really done by young directors? Because one is quite surprised about the quality.
It's funny you should ask me, because very often I'm being asked that question, and I have a story coming back to my mind as you talk. That years back I was invited at the ICP show in New York by Matt Miller, and he said, show them what YDA is all about. So I didn't show, clips, of course, but I showed, let's say, maybe 10 to 15 films over a period of 2 or 3 years. And I mean, the whole, I would say, advertising nomenclature was there, right? And producers, agencies, it's a huge thing, the ICP show, right? And the chair at that time, after the show, came to me and said, François, it's a joke. I said, I was shocked. I said, what do you mean it's a joke? They are not young people. But I said, yes, they are. I promise you, you can check each of them. I have their name. Check. They are beginners. They are beginners. So that's what it is all about. We mustn't forget that young directors, young, right? Not necessarily in age, right? You can be young at 40 or more if you start, if it's a new era for you, let's put it, a professional era, yeah.
Wow, that's quite incredible. So everybody is understanding English here, or do you want me to translate some of the things? Understanding, no? Okay. Tell us a bit, how did you get to this idea of young directors? So how do you get your entries? How did you think that you should do an event yearly like this? How was the beginning of the whole story?
I'm obviously going to sound a little old, let's say, compared to you old, of course, because I'm back, we're back to 1998, right? At that time, there was an association of producers throughout Europe, which was called the Commercial Film Producers of Europe, CFP, right? And I had been a member of the CFP representing France for about 2 or 3 years before, and I was elected president, in 98. And I thought, what shall I do, which is going to show that we move forward, we don't sort of do what we've been doing all the time, that is to say, exchange information. Let's not forget that at that time, agencies and brand had a different politics, policies, and strategy according to countries, So they would work one way in Greece, and it would be certainly different, for example, in Spain or in UK or in France or whatever. So it was quite interesting, to sit around the CFP table, because we would learn exactly the strategy, globally speaking, what the pan-European strategy of the brands and the advertising agency. So I sort of said, okay, we've talked a lot about technology, let's put it that way, about budget, about everything that we are faced every day, right, with. And I said, okay, but we never talk about creativity. So I said to guys around the table, and girls, sorry, and guys, we have to show that they're not only agencies who are creative. We, as producers, we are creative. And not only are we creative, but we work with creatives, right? Like an agency work with, a couple of, art directors and copywriters. We work with young talent. And I think our job, first, is to say that, to remind producers themselves what they do, who they are, right? And also to convey the message to brands and advertising agencies who very often like to think that they have done everything. And as a good example, every year I would go at the end of the Cannes Lions at their final evening celebration award, on Saturday evening at that time. And then they would screen, they would show all the winning films, right? And on each side there would be a big screen, and on the screen there would be the credits. So they would start with the brands, there would be 5 names, let's say. There would be the agency afterwards, 10 names. And if we were lucky, I'm talking about the 90s, right? Then there would be maybe a producer, maybe a director, or maybe a director without a producer. So that was absolutely shameful. And I remember at the time writing to, I think the owner at the time was Roger Atchwell, and writing a, registered letter to him and telling him, Guy, there's something wrong there. Don't forget, we're in France, and there is a law in France that in 1984, there was a law which was voted which credits the director of commercials co-author of the film. Yeah. And so he would of course immediately change his blah blah blah. Yeah. And they would start again the following year. So
then you started the young directors, and it was shown specifically in Cannes, correct? To that time, how it was just the European associations participating, or the European producers and directors? When did you start to get also global participation? How many countries are entering today their work?
Well, at the time we were talking, probably as it was pan-European, we were talking about, if I remember well, 12 to 14 countries. And all throughout those following 10 years up to 2008, and I'm sure that 2008 means something to you, where there was a big financial and economical crisis. The YDA, which was run not by me, but was run by the Danish association, who had taken the responsibility for the administration and the financial side of the YDA. I would still be the president, so to speak, creatively speaking, but that was the job of an association. It was a Danish association, and the Danish association did a wonderful work for 10 years. And in 2008 and 2009, they told me, François, sorry, we can't carry on. It's costing too much. So because we had decided at the beginning that it would be free for youngsters to enter, and for anybody who would be interested to see the show, it would be free also. So it was really something we didn't want, people, and particularly brands and advertising agencies, to think that we are going to make money out of youngsters.
No, which is not. This is a non-profit organization. Is it still free to enter?
So it was free. No, well, at that time when, we went through the account, of course, with the Danes, they showed that they were losing money. So we decided that we didn't call it as an entry fee, we called it an administrative fee, and we told, through our, not social media at the time, but through shots and through our own communication system, we told the world, so to speak, that we needed to, the free time was totally...
But it's not a
biased.
lot. How much do you charge for an entry?
Well, today, an entry, let's say it's an average of 200, depending on the category.
Which is cheaper than most festivals,
200.
by the way.
So it's still not a lot, but we try to keep it as low as possible, mainly when we, of course, look at the prices of all the others. So we try to be below, let's say, almost everybody. Okay.
Yeah, no, quite successful idea to go into this festival. And François, during the time you were because it's quite interesting to think that most filmmakers, the ones that are oriented to long forms, to features, they usually dismiss the people from the advertising. Maybe even young directors, before they start to work in advertising, they tend to think, well, advertising is a wrong thing, or is not intellectual enough. In my experience of many years in the industry, I've been seeing that actually it was quite good to be able to put those directors in a set with all the toys that we get in advertising, and actually we are all quite grateful to the brands that help us to be able to create this kind of the beautiful things we've been seeing before here too. So when did you think about that? Did somebody mentor you? Because you had the vision from the very beginning that these directors could develop into long features, into series, into documentaries. So when did you realize that a director doesn't have a border, how far it can go, and that advertising is not an exclusive part of their life? When did you think about that?
Well, I mean, two things happened after that, financial crisis. Is that when I asked around the table, which association would like to take that responsibility, I must admit that none of them said, okay, I'll take it, okay? So I didn't want to let it disappear, and I said, okay, I'll manage, I'll manage. I was a producer, I still am, but I'm not working full-time like I used to, right? But I said, okay, I'll take it in, and I'll manage somehow. So that's how it all happened. And then from that time onwards, I thought that it would, as in a way, it worked because within the European system, because that's how we started, and I still recognize that. It was, let's say, YDA was created by producers, for producers and directors. So, I mean, I wasn't going to give up that, but I thought that it was the time to become more global and extend our wings, eastwards. Not only Europe, of course, but USA, Latin America, and also a lot, Asia. In my mind, Asia was a huge source of young talent. I had been invited to China several times, to Japan twice, and to South Korea as well. The big problem was really the language barrier. But now, and we maybe talk about it a little bit later, with AI, those barriers are, let's say, starting to break.
But you told me about Ridley Scott influencing you in the director's thing.
That's true. I mean, of course, I was at the time, before being a producer, I was agency producer. I started with TBWA at the very beginning. At the very beginning of TBWA. TBWA started in Paris and was a small agency, and we're talking about, my God, long time ago, okay? They started in August 70, and I joined them in January 71, okay? And stayed with them for 13 years, until 1984, where I launched my own company, which are Les Producers. So yeah, what happened? Why? Because, I mean, I worked at the time as an agency producer with Ridley Scott. Ridley at the time, and still is actually, and he's still alive, so let's not talk like so much in the past, right? But he's not a young director anymore, as you all know. And I can remember at the time when I called his producer in Paris, because they had a company at the time in Paris, and I called him, I said, hey, Jean-Claude, we have a film for Ridley. And he tells me, François, forget about Ridley. He's out for the next 2 years. I said, what? Why? Well, he was at the height of his career and finally decided at that time, that's crucial. And I think that for me is a lesson for young directors ever since, even now, right? He decided to make his first feature. And I invite you to watch his first feature if you haven't done that. I think the feature was released in '76, if I'm not wrong, and it's called The Duelist. And then you will see what an expert at commercial, well, you will see, you have seen his films afterwards, right? But it's his first film, so it's really interesting to see what is the first film of Ridley Scott. So ever since, and that's why I tried to, with YDA, starting in 2008, when I was totally responsible, I made it global and actually also increased the number of categories, going towards what I call entertainment, right?
Well, talking about categories, this year you are thinking in include the AI category, so we come to the famous AI thing, and AI worries and AI understanding. So you told us you have a story with the AI, with a winner of this year. Can we see that picture, please? So this picture is been supposedly taken by...
If you want to see the detail, yeah, less light would be nice. But.
No, it's okay. Well, this has been by a director called Boris Laxton from Germany. And very briefly, tell us the story, what happened when this won, this photo won, isn't it? A category?
He won this. He won the Sony International Award, right? And then what I was going to say, funny in a way, is that when he won that award, he told, publicly and to the jury, guys, I must tell you something. That picture was done full AI. So, of course, it was a shock for almost everybody. But I would say, and I think it's a lesson also for, at least for the near future. He said, because we welcomed him in one of our podcasts last year, so it's interesting to listen to him. He said, you know what? Of course, I'm the only one who could have done that picture. Why? Because I have 50 years experience. It's my own talent. I know exactly what I want. And I just ask AI to change things the way or to sort of make that picture slowly but surely exactly what I wanted. But he actually didn't take any picture. That's it. He worked with AI. So I think through that, I think the lesson is to those young directors, but also producers, guys, I think that, of course, we mustn't sort of forget, or let's say, use AI like that and say, well, it's another innovation and yeah, I'll take it in my stroll. No, you have to, first, because it's a revolution. It's not compared to all the others, really evolution. It's a real revolution, and it's changing and evolving at an exponential speed. That is to say, AI today is different, or at least tomorrow is different from today. The day after tomorrow is again something different. Nobody today is capable, even the high-tech guy, to tell you exactly what it is going to be in 5 years or 10 years. So you have to use it, but don't use your soul when you use it. Mm-hmm. You have to do it yourself with your own talent, your own emotion, your own, creativity.
Well, that's we are running out of time, but that's a very important message for all the production companies and talents, is that we are not afraid of AI. We are complementing our life with it. The talent, the need of talent of directors and producers is not going to end, because of the AI, actually the opposite. As you can see, everything needs a director, needs a producer, needs the idea. So we think we have Young Directors Award for many years still. I wish, because we really ran out of time, that could you invite them, the Spanish industry, to participate in the Young Directors Award?
Sorry, but the question?
Can you wanted to invite the Spanish people to participate?
Oh, well, yes. I mean, just, yeah, when I look at who enters, you know, of course, we have 40 different countries entering, and I must say, I mean, I'm very sad about it. I mean, the number of entries coming from your country is not zero, but almost. So I don't know why, because you've always been member of the CFP as well. I think you believe in the YDA. We are the only one in the world to promote young talents. Okay.
So now we are going to start. This is an invitation. We're really running out of time. So this is an invitation. You guys have to entry your work. We have to see a lot of Spanish and Latin work in Cannes this year or next.
Yeah.
And let's see the last two films, which are very short. One is one typical film to get inspired, and the last one, the Born to Be drama.
Yeah, the first one you're going to see is one of our golden hits, I would say, dating from 2011. Anna Maria Heidrich, coming from the Film Academy. I would say a word about the Film Academy, which really is very close to my heart. Why? Because the Film Academy, ever since that we've we're partnered with them. First, it's the first school that I know who has a commercial department. It's not a film school which spit on advertising. No, they embrace advertising.
Yeah.
And you've seen some of them already in that montage.
Let's see it.
Let's see. Hold on, and then
they will kick us out here.
And then after us, you're going to see another one.
Please.
Right? Coming from the Film Academy also, right? So, I mean, many thanks to the Film Academy, and I wish a lot of film schools throughout Europe would have that department. So we miss you. 1911, Anna Maria Heidrich, who has a really good career after that. And by the way, what you're going to see is without AI, right?
Sure.
So today it would be okay, but now.
Leave it alone, boy. I already told you yesterday.
Okay.
I'll give you 5. Hey, come here. And promise me to stay off the streets. I don't want to see you tomorrow.
I promise.
Here. Now take this now. Get on out of here. Move. And not on the streets.
We missed you. Where have you been?
Well, guys, this was it. We have to. Thank you very much. Get inspiration. Nobody is too old to be a young director. Thank you, François. Thank you so much for coming, Dolly. Thank you really much.